Perhaps due to the 2020 pandemic, we've seen plenty of trends that emerged last year that have begun to bloom this year. With the merits of next-gen bedding in and investment coming into an industry that has been flourishing for years, 2021 really has been one of the most exciting years for the gaming industry. What does this mean for players, though? Well, the key takeaway in this rundown is the sheer choice that's now available. Games for every type of player, playable from wherever you like, with more direct options to support developers. Esports continue to gain popularity. Viewership of competitive gaming has continued to grow throughout 2021, after a sharp rise in 2020, attributed largely to the lack of conventional sport during the pandemic. In the US, the popularity of esports is set to overtake the major American sports leagues, barring the NFL, with more viewers than the NBA, NHL, and MLB. What does this mean for the video games industry at large, though? Well, as gaming seeps deeper into pop culture, media coverage expands. A wider, more varied audience will undoubtedly entice new forms of investment into the industry, leading to rapid tech advancement and better games through increased commerce. Social gaming. Games that facilitate social interaction are on the rise. Titles like Animal Crossing have effectively become a new form of social media. Social games offer players a fresh, comforting platform to virtually connect, away from the more competitive PvP, action-oriented titles. They're less daunting to get started on, and easy to play once you get going, serving to encourage a broader spectrum of gamers who might have been lacking social interaction prior to playing. Soothing gaming experiences. There has been a growing abundance of calming gaming experiences throughout 2021. Games like Townscaper, Cloud Gardens, and the recently released Unpacking focus less on points chasing and instead opt for a steady, soothing vibe. In a year where, in the UK at least, mental health services have been stretched to breaking point, it's great that gaming is offering players the chance for pure escapism via therapeutic experiences. Upcoming Serene City Builders, Terra Nil, and Dorfromantik are set to continue this trend into 2022. Digital distribution services flourishing. As of November 2021, Steam has just eclipsed 27 million concurrent users, a record for the service. With its curated selection of classic titles, GOG has seen significant growth as well. The Epic Games Store has solidified its status as challenger to Steam's dominance this year, including bringing 200,000 plus indie-focused titles from itch.io. In short, consumer choice is plentiful. The options with which to buy games and support developers is as vibrant as ever. Early access the norm. One aspect of digital distribution platforms which developers are continuing to take advantage of is early access. Now, this feature isn't anything new. Steam has offered developers chance to upload their unfinished games for years, allowing players opportunity to playtest, find bugs, and provide valuable insight in full knowledge that the game that they're playing could lead them askew. Is the responsibility of the developers then to share their vision via roadmap? Crucially though, games are clearly marked as being in early access on the Steam store page, avoiding any confusion for its customers. As of 2020, this practice wasn't as clear-cut on the Epic Games Store. Users had to navigate via a link at the top to find out if a game was in early access. Thankfully this year, this is a problem they've addressed in what is a win-win for both player and developer. Let's hope that this trend continues, as utilizing gamers as playtesters is vital for smaller indie developers who won't necessarily have the resources to comprehensively test their games before general release. Cross-platform gaming. The ability for gamers from differing hardware to play games together has been around for a couple of years now. Sony famously dragged their heels before making games with cross-play capability for the PlayStation. Now in 2021, players have a veritable smorgasbord of games with which to choose from to play with their friends across consoles, PC, and mobile. Long-time established cross-platform heavy hitters such as Fortnite continuously see crossover events, but new games are releasing specifically designed for cross-platform play, such as Back 4 Blood. CloudBased Gaming. CloudBased Gaming is another service that has come on leaps and bounds in recent years. With games increasingly requiring high-powered, more expensive machinery, players are demanding the ability to play these games without shelling out for new equipment. In 2021, there is a wealth of decent choices for players to play the latest games on their existing systems. Sony and Microsoft have their own platforms, of course, but Nvidia's GeForce Now and Windows-based Shadow provide excellent cloud-based options for PC users. Game streaming performance improving. Cloud-based service providers are hopeful players will continue to migrate to their streaming platforms. Favorable price plans are an obvious draw, but lag-free streaming performance is crucial for a smooth gaming experience. Thankfully, the teething problems that plagued streaming services in the early days have been largely ironed out by late 2021. The reduction in latency owes to increasingly sophisticated data centers, packed with servers capable of delivering data at rapid speeds. With more and more users taking up game streaming services, investment in server speed will continue to grow. Remakes, reboots, and remasters. Recent years have seen phenomenal remakes of iconic titles Resident Evil 2 and Final Fantasy VII. Clearly there is an appetite for modern reinterpretations of classic games. Those two aforementioned served as springboards to illustrate the possibility of a well-made remake, and as a result, the spate of classic video games becoming readily available on next-gen hardware has ramped up in 2021. What's truly great about older titles being remade or remastered isn't the chance to see the visual vibrancy of modern graphics or quality of life improvements. No, it's the opportunity for players of all generations who may not have had the chance to play the games previously to be able to experience what makes definitive titles so universally loved. Decrease in loot boxes. The debate on the ethical merit of including loot box mechanics in modern games has raged for a few years, but 2021 saw action being taken to limit their prevalence. The UK government politely likened loot boxes to a form of gambling, whilst Electronic Arts were heavily fined for their inclusion of gambling-like loot boxes in FIFA Ultimate Team. Sure, it's argued that loot boxes are a way to introduce cosmetic items, skins, and consumables to enhance the gaming experience. The issue, though, is that they're structured to appeal to young people who can easily rack up a fortune of real-life currency, spending on items which don't fundamentally change how the game is played. VR is finally here to stay. Those of us old enough to remember the 90s will be aware virtual reality gaming has been reportedly on the near horizon for decades. Well, after a slight COVID-related slump in 2020, virtual reality looks to be finally becoming a mainstay in homes all over the world. Standalone VR headsets are now plentiful, and thanks to virtual reality games such as Half-Life Alyx becoming more sophisticated, we're seeing more and more gamers jumping into the immersive platform. Backwards compatibility. The ability to play existing games on next-gen consoles was a major bone of contention for console players. How could they be expected to upgrade to the expensive next-gen systems if they can't play the games that they've already paid for, only the next-gen titles? Making backwards compatibility a standard feature was the most sensible move Microsoft could make, and one that has seen record numbers of players jump ship to upgraded hardware. Handheld consoles. Nintendo has largely flown the flag for handheld gaming from the Game Boy to the Switch console family. Despite grumblings the handheld market would fizzle out after Sony withdrew the PSP, if anything, handheld is making a comeback. Sega's delightfully tiny Game Gear Micro, released in Japan last year, signaled a return to the pleasure of gaming away from your living room. Numerous handheld consoles slated for release this year were sadly delayed by the pandemic. Valve's Steam Deck, the vintage Amico Intellivision, and intriguing crank-wheeled-equipped Playdate. Pre-orders are booming though. The trend for handheld, possibly galvanized by the Nintendo Switch, is set to grow well into next year. Studio acquisitions are plenty. 2021 has officially signaled the return of the console wars, but this time the battle's being fought with game exclusives. Both Sony and Microsoft have spent the best part of the past 12 months snapping up various well-known game studios. More often than not, they'll be purchasing the studios which they already have strong relationships with. Having Sony or Microsoft funding and publishing games signals a huge safety net for once independent studios. The flip side for consumers, though, is an increase in console exclusives. This might come as a bugbear for some gamers, but honestly, hasn't it been this way for a long time? Nintendo has an entire legacy of iconic games exclusive to their own consoles. Everything is better with next gen. Without descending into total fanboyism, the latest generation of consoles truly has raised the bar in every aspect of gaming. You'd expect graphics and load times to improve as hardware becomes more powerful, but it's the ways in which the next gen offers unique immersive capabilities which have truly been on point this year. The PS5's haptic feedback is revolutionary. Feel the rain through your hands as it beats down in Returnal. The Xbox Series X and S are increasing the number of games equipped with Dolby Atmos, making unparalleled spatial audio available to more players, even those who play with headphones. And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request before we conclude though. We upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.